Hi guys, welcome to my channel where I discuss all aspects of manifestation and law of assumption so that you can level up your life and start manifesting your dreams. So, if that's something that you're vibing with, go ahead and subscribe and check out my other videos. Now, this video is going to be the basics about manifestation. So, we're just going to talk about what manifestation is. And basically, what manifestation is bringing things into reality through intention, attention, awareness, thoughts, assumptions, beliefs, and things of the like. However, you want to describe it, your consciousness manifests your reality, your 3D experience. So, everything that is in this physical reality, which science has proved isn't actually physical, it's mostly non physical. it's almost 100% non physical and less than 1% physical. So, anyhow, but I digress. So everything in our physical reality is the manifestation of consciousness. All possibilities exist. Everything that you can possibly imagine is available for consciousness to manifest into particle form. So before something manifests into particle form, it exists. It's not really like in a place, but just the energy, the potential exists in a wave form of potential energy. So it can materialize or manifest into anything. And what it materializes or manifests in is directly related to what consciousness perceived it as, expected it to be, focused on, intended for, selected. So if you think about our physical reality versus what's available to manifest as your physical reality, it's sort of like when you're shopping on Amazon. There are thousands, if not millions, of products that you don't see, that you maybe don't even know about, that you're not aware of, you're not looking at, you're not thinking about, but they're all there available for selection. So you as the shopper are the consciousness or the awareness, and you go to Amazon, you log in and you type in what you're looking for, or things pop up that are related to what you've previously purchased, shopped, or looked for on the site. So that's relative to your physical reality. It's the where your state of consciousness is, what you've been used to, what you've been focused on, what you've been thinking about is what you're going to see as available. However, behind the scenes, there's so many more products available. There's so much more stuff available for you. But because it's not in alignment or your state of consciousness isn't focused on it, you're not pulling it in as your experience. You're not selecting it. So that's an analogy that I think you'll find really helpful for understanding that, I talk about this in a way of, like I've said, things like it exists in the quantum field and everything that you desire is out there available for you. Really, it's not out there. There is no out there. This is all an illusion. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a projection of what's in here. But I say that, I phrase it that way or term it that way for the sake of, like, conceptualizing it for our 3D world and the logical minds that we're carrying around and embodying. And so it's not really like it exists in a place, because there is no place, it's just infinite space. But it does exist as available to you. So it is kind of similar to how you think about Amazon. Even though there are physical places where these products reside, when you're on the Amazon website, it's sort of an ambiguous place where you don't see the products. They're just available as you type them in and search for them. You can then see them. So, same thing with how your thoughts, your assumptions, and your beliefs are pulling in and selecting what you've been experiencing in your 3D reality. It's all relative to your state of consciousness. So, manifestation is something that you're doing constantly, you will do constantly in all of existence. It's my belief that as long as we exist, which will be infinitely, we will be manifesting. Now, in this realm specifically, you've been doing it since birth, and you'll do it until you pass through to whatever form you take next, or whatever your thought is about that. So you already are a master manifester. You do it naturally. You don't have to think about it. It just happens automatically from your state of consciousness. You're doing it constantly. You can't essentially speed it up or slow it down. You can't stop doing it. Um, you can, however, refine and speed up or deliberately choose what comes into your reality. And so, where you have free will is with your conscious awareness, what you choose to put your attention on. Not even the thoughts that come to you, those just happen, but you do have the choice in each now moment. You have free will to imagine and think something different consistently. So you have really infinite free will, because each now moment, right, you have a new opportunity over and over and over again instantly to keep choosing a new story, to keep choosing to be conscious of something else, to keep choosing abundance over poverty, health over illness, love over dysfunction or fear. You have in each now moment at your fingertips all states of consciousness that are available, which then means you have as your reality all realities that are available, right? So the other thing I want to really drive home about manifestation is that you have manifested everything in your reality. And not just in your inner circle, your close reality. Everything that you, as the observer, have ever observed, been aware of, had conscious awareness of happening or hearing about, happening to someone else, like all of that, no matter how far it appears to reach out, whether it's, through politics or I don't know, actors and actresses or friends of friends or just something you heard about that happened across the world, it doesn't matter. It's all your manifestation. There's nothing that isn't the product of your state of consciousness and where you choose to put your attention. Where you dominantly and most frequently return in your state of consciousness will be what you have pushed out as your 3D experience. That will be what is outpictured. It's your reality is your consciousness outpictured. So there's nothing in your reality that you can't change. There's nothing in your reality that you can't shift your perception of and begin to put your consciousness beyond what you've been experiencing. And I think a good practice would be to now start, if you haven't already, to now start really solidifying and reinforcing within yourself that you've manifested that. Whatever it is you're aware of, whether it's desirable or non-desirable, undesirable. I want you to practice even things from the past, now not to dwell there, but just recognizing and making that connection and starting to rewire your brain to understand that you've manifested it all. You've manifested every single aspect of it. So if you're hearing about something or you're witnessing something or you're seeing something that you don't like, still, as the operant power, take accountability for that. I manifested that through my state of consciousness. And all states of consciousness are available to me. So, the other thing is that it's sort of there's sort of an anarchy involved where all states are available, all of them, because it's up to you as consciousness to deliberately select and choose the one you want to resonate with, the one you want to experience, the one you want to create in your world and your outer world, the larger world that you reside in. So we want to be mindful to not victimize ourselves along the path of increasing consciousness, expanding consciousness, reaching a higher state of consciousness. and never looking at yourself as disempowered and a victim to circumstance or a victim to something that's outside of your control, because it's actually not. It's what you have selected. And so you will naturally return to your dominant state of consciousness over and over again. But as you practice consciously creating your reality, and as you practice taking accountability for everything that you've created, it'll become easier and easier for you to shift that natural state. So there where you will naturally return is in a more positive state, in a more desirable state. And as a result, your outer world starts to shift. Now, I've seen this with myself drastically over the years, very drastically just over the past few years. And I've seen it with hundreds of clients where aspects of their lives where they thought they were struggling, no matter how desperate at times it may feel and how far out of reach thinking differently may be at first, as you persist in it, it really does become easier and easier and easier. And, there can be some struggle. There can be some drastic back and forth. I personally experienced it quite a bit where I felt like I would make progress and then I would get like swooped back in, and it felt like I was right back where I started. And the truth of the matter is you're never right back where you started. My grandma always used to say, wherever you go, there you are. And it's like that's relative to this in so many ways, because first of all, wherever you go, there you are. In other words, if you don't change your concept of self, if you don't change your consciousness, you're just going to keep doing the same thing, right? You can't leave a 3D situation to be someone different. It's not your circumstances that are going to make you a different person. You have to become the different person within, which will then inspire you to move into different 3D circumstances. But also, the other way it's relative, which now I've forgotten because that's what I do when I start talking. It'll come back. But yeah, your state of consciousness, it's all available to you. Like, you have in your power all states to focus on and practice perceiving from and practice thinking this way now. And so as you persist in that, it really does get easier. But, like I was saying, wherever you go, there you are, meaning you're never starting over. Like, you have in each now moment the opportunity to be anew, to be in a new place, to be thinking from a new desired concept, to be focused on a new outcome, to be practicing a new mental diet, a new imaginal scene, a new affirmation. So wherever you go, there you are. Like, you're never starting over. It's not a linear process. We look back and it can feel like, I can say it took me this many years to get to where I am. And yeah, in the human illusion, that's true. But also it was just a series of right now I'm here, and 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 right now I'm here. It wasn't really a linear process, even though, we have this illusion to create that way, to perceive it that way, which makes sense because all things are available. All things are available now. That would be utter chaos if all things that we've ever known about or can imagine were flooding our consciousness, right? So we've constructed this paradigm perfectly so that we can select and choose, and it seems as though we're moving through a timeline, and this happened then, and that's happening now, and maybe in the future that will be happening. And so, but anyhow, yeah. So you're always wherever you're at right now, and you always have the opportunity to reach for wherever you want to be right now, and that opportunity will never elude you. You will never lose it. It will never go away, and you can't mess it up. So if in an opportunity you're manifesting from an undesired state of consciousness, I'm just making sure I said the right words, opportunity, moment of time, which is an opportunity, a now moment. If you're manifesting from an undesired state of consciousness, and then you, in your next moment, are reflecting on that and being afraid of that and being worried about that, now you're staying, like, you're keeping yourself there, right? So it's all about having the grace and I don't know, swiftness, or like just the fluidity to just, okay, that's where I was, but now I'm going to practice being here, and not making it be a thing, not making it matter. And if you don't hold on to it, it's not going to be relative to where you're going. That applies to everything. It applies to your story about your specific person, your story about finances, health, like your body image. It also applies to your story about how you manifest, or how well you manifest, or how quickly you manifest, or what's possible for you. It's always in your best interest to drop and just eliminate and not focus on anything that's holding you in a state of consciousness that's undesired, right? Whether you're beating yourself up, or guilting yourself, or shaming yourself, or fearing what you just spiraled about, or what you just reacted to, that's just keeping you there. So you want to, as quickly as possible, when consciously creating, go, oh yeah, all that matters is right now. And right now I'm going to practice thinking this, even if I just cried my eyes out for 4 hours, or, yelled at my SP for 30 minutes, or whatever. Like, doesn't matter. That's dead, done, and gone. That doesn't exist anymore. The only way it can exist is if you keep putting your conscious awareness on it and bringing it back. Like, your memory of something is what makes it real for you, is what means that it is existing. And since there is no time, when you choose to remember something that was undesirable or painful, or just not in your best interest, you're actually you're reliving it in that moment, because all you have is this moment. And so if you're using this moment to think about how you were hurt 5 minutes ago, or how you hurt somebody 5 minutes ago, you're choosing that now again. So it really is in your best interest to sort of look at your mind and direct it toward what you want, instead of reflection on what you've done, what you've been, what you've seen, what you've experienced. It really does keep us stagnant. It keeps us small, is what it does. It keeps us in the reality that we don't desire. So you're a powerful manifester. You're doing it constantly. It happens automatically from your state of consciousness, and your state of consciousness can be directed, controlled, disciplined, and moved into any state that you desire. They are all always available to you. Always, constantly, all of them, as far as you can imagine. And so you don't have to take these small baby steps. You can if it feels good and if it feels natural, but you can also just jump right back, whatever, to the best of the best that you can think of for yourself right now. Like, you don't have to climb up the consciousness ladder, so to speak, or take it one step at a time. You have the power to go wherever you want in your mind. And wherever you go in your mind, that's where you are. So again, wherever you go, there you are. So sky is the limit. So there is no limit. You are limitless. So manifestation is not magic. It's not witchcraft. It's not spells. It's not bad. You can't stop doing it. You're just doing it. So you might as well practice doing it in a way that serves you. It's also not about, since it's not magic, it is a practice of becoming a new version of yourself. And I say version because that's just the best way to describe it. It's the practice of becoming someone who thinks differently. And to become someone who thinks differently, you have to actually think differently, right? You can't just fall victim to these dominant thoughts that want to play out and then, kick and scream about how you're still here and this keeps happening. You're the only one that can get you out of there. You thinking differently, especially when it feels difficult, is the very thing that's getting you into a new state of consciousness. you're saying, no, I'm not here anymore. I'm going to be here now. I'm going to think of it this way. I'm going to look toward this. I'm going to put my attention on this instead. Um, and so, when people find out about manifestation, typically they get really excited. And especially if they've learned about it through law of attraction, because it's this, I studied law of attraction from, the early mid 90s until about less than 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 was when I found law of assumption. And so, that whole time for me was incredibly frustrating because I was like, it was just this ambiguous, like, think positive, high vibe, be happy, like, disc, like, whatever. I don't remember all the, like, terms that were used, but, stay on that high flying disc. And that's not what it's about at all. Not at all. It's just about learning to become aware of, as I move through this 3D experience and things show up around me, what am I making them mean? What am I being consciously aware of? And based off that awareness, what conscious story am I telling myself? What am I telling myself about myself in relation to this 3D reality? And that's what you're going to manifest. So it's much more of a deliberate formula of, awareness of what you're thinking. As Neville says, your definition of aim, what do you want to be thinking? And then detachment from what you are aware of, the thing you don't want to be thinking anymore, right? Awareness of the old state, detachment from the old state, definition of aim of your new state. It really is about that. And that doesn't mean you have to be positive all the time and think happy thoughts all the time. It just means you have to be aware of, what am I thinking, and is it something that I want to experience in my reality? Is this how I want to perceive myself and how I want to look at this experience or this person or this situation or this opportunity? Do I want to keep myself small, or do I want to expand my consciousness and make myself bigger? Because you have all the power to do that. So, like, manifestation just is. It is the explanation for this 3D reality. We manifested it. This 3D reality is the out picturing of states of consciousness. It's the materialization of conscious awareness. That's it. That's all it is. And it makes it so much more fun and so much less impactful. I look back on things that I experienced and manifested for myself, and then what I would do in that manifestation and how I would react. And I feel for that version of me. Like, she was in a lot of pain, a lot of emotional pain for a very long time, decades. But now I'm like, oh, like, there are things, like, they don't move me like that anymore. It's interesting because I look at that as, oh, that poor you, that poor person. But I'm so detached from it that it doesn't feel like it's me anymore. It feels like I'm reflecting on, like, a book I read or a movie I watched, or, remembering someone else's childhood or someone else's past. It's really interesting. Now, a lot of that is attributed to the countless hours I've spent revising things, which I'm going to do an amazing video on that and get into all details about that. But revision is incredibly powerful, and I overlooked it for too long. Too many years went by where I wouldn't practice revision. And now I understand where it holds a place and why it's so valuable and important. And again, it goes back to all we have is right now. And so if we keep recalling things that hurt us, if we keep putting our awareness on them, we're going to that moment. We're creating it right now. So revising it is how you eliminate it, right? How you drop it, if you struggle with dropping it. But yeah, so you are the most powerful thing in existence. Like what we've discussed as being God is what we are, our consciousness, our awareness. So get out there, manifest the life of your dreams. Be conscious about who are you being in each now moment, the quality of the thoughts you're thinking, the story you're telling about what you're perceiving and where you're putting your attention. That that is the summation of who you're being. So who are you being? Are you being a victim? Are you being a person who's hurt and doesn't have what they want? Or are you being someone who's understanding that they're powerful beyond their conception, even? And that's true. Like, I keep getting to places where I realize that my ability to conceive how powerful I am today is way beyond my ability to conceive of how powerful I was even 6 weeks ago. It just continues to expand. And I know that that will continue to happen, right? Like I'm going to continue to do that. And so it's a really amazing process of like, you just keep becoming over and over again, but more. You become more over and over and over. And it's incredibly beautiful and powerful. And I'm really loving it. But yeah, so I don't know where I was going before that. Once again, Denise strikes. So yeah, like yeah, who are you being? You get to be in each moment to create the reality that you desire. So let's do this. Let's expand. Let's, practice. You are a limitless being. Practice thinking that way. What would it be like if? What will it be like when? I love saying that. That's one of my favorites. And those two practices of putting attention on that helped me through some of my darkest times. They helped me through some of those deep victimizing states. Like that's how I got out of all of that, was starting there. What will it be like when? I remember writing, in my journal, just a notebook, not like anything fancy, but I wrote, I don't remember the exact sentence, but what would it be like if I had always known I was enough? And that's what spurred all the memories to revise, because when I started writing, I found myself writing about scenarios that had happened as long as, 4 years old. 4 years old, then I jumped to like this thing that happened in second grade, and then, grade school, junior high school. It was mostly around relationship, not at 4, but mostly around, with boys and crushes not choosing me and wanting somebody else. And so when I that wasn't where I was headed with this, but I just was so like I was reaching for this higher state of consciousness. So I was like, okay, well, what will it be like, or what would it have been like if I knew I was enough? And that was how I remedied that, and that was how I pulled myself out of that. And so then, I wrote down all these things and I reflected on them, and I was like, wow, girl, you perceived a lot of things from this perception of not being enough, and as a result kept manifesting more in that area, and it just grew and grew until finally I said, I'm done with that story. So then I went into revision. I started to revise all those things, and that took a while. It wasn't like I did it right away, because I just would do a few a night. But went into revision, revised all that stuff, and came out of the other end. This was, a few weeks. It was like I don't know. I don't even remember. Probably like 4 weeks. But it was this sort of like metamorphosis. Metamorphosis? Is that what it's called? Yeah. When we cocoon and then come out something new. And I really did. Like, I isolated a lot. I internalized a lot. I didn't take in any information. Like, I'm not on social media. Well, I'm on TikTok, but I like got off of Instagram. It may have been then I was still on it, but that was what spawned me or spurred me getting off of it completely, because I took time to just not do anything. Like I wasn't looking outside of me for anything. I was just in it, and I was practicing to reach for a new state of consciousness, a new way of thinking, a new way of being. And it really did, it was a catalyst for me. It really did shift me into a whole new version of myself. And then it kept snowballing into greater and greater things. And now here I am, like, expanding beyond other aspects of my life, becoming this increased version of myself that's reaching even higher for bigger and more and better. And so, anyway, um, yeah, so that's what manifestation is. It's something you're just doing innately, constantly, always. You can't turn it off. You can't turn it on. You can refine the modality with which you manifest, which is your conscious awareness. You can move that and shift that, and then as a result, your manifestations will shift as well. You are the only cause. You are the only operant power. You are the only creator. You are it. You are the only thing that can manifest for you in your reality. It's not magic, so don't get discouraged. Stick with it. Keep practicing. Don't ever give up on you. Don't ever give up on thinking big and thinking bigger than your past or thinking bigger than your current circumstances. Never give up on that. Don't let yourself stay small. You want to keep growing. And even if it means little steps, right? If you do want to climb that ladder, you can do whatever feels best, but just don't give up. Keep persisting, because it's not about the things. It's about you becoming fulfillment, you becoming abundance, you becoming love, you becoming wealth, you becoming prosperity, you becoming health, whatever it is. Like, sky is the limit, So, all right. That's my video for today. You guys are amazing. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.